Hello everyone. I've been receiving a steady influx of emails over the past 4 months from people who have been watching conspiracy theories. And what they are wanting me to talk about is the idea that the New Age movement is just a conspiracy which is set up from the Illuminati. The idea behind this conspiracy is basically that the Illuminati have created a new type of religion with false prophets and false beliefs. Sometimes the Illuminati themselves becoming teachers of false beliefs, so that they can do what they want to be doing down here on Earth, and we can ignore what they're doing. So creating mass confusion in a demographic that can then be controlled. So in other words, the basic conspiracy is that the Illuminati has created New Age spirituality so that we can have a false sense of freedom or overlook earthly events on the false promise of ascension. This video would be an hour long if I addressed every point relative to this conspiracy, so instead I'm going to just give you the most important information relative to this topic. Because you get whatever you focus on, those of you who are incredibly dedicated to the idea of conspiracy are going to see this video as just one more proof of evidence of this conspiracy you already believe in. But for those of you that are undecided, I'm hoping to dispel some of your fears. I must also say that there are some people who are part of the New Age movement, who say they're part of the New Age movement, who are no better than those that are pushing for a New World Order. They sell you fear. They teach you resistance, and they teach you to distrust yourself. So we can't say that every person that assigns themselves to the New Age movement is pure intentioned. But we also can't say that the New Age movement in and of itself is negative intentioned. The movement of the New Age in and of itself is pure. It comes from a space of personal freedom, joy, and unconditional love. Anyone who propagates paranoia is not in line with the New Age movement. The New Age philosophy is a fusion of beliefs which have existed for thousands upon thousands of years, far before the Illuminati even existed. This fusion of beliefs is what makes today's New Age movement. So we've basically taken the best parts of all of these world religions and all these philosophies of spirituality and blended them together and gotten rid of those things which don't serve humanity anymore. These beliefs, which are taught as part of the New Age movement, are proven to be true again and again by individuals as they search for God or enlightenment within themselves. The New Age movement is not in the business of feeding you beliefs. It's in the business of teaching you how you can question your beliefs, and then subsequently choose beliefs which serve you personally. If you ask me, this is hardly a recipe for control. Instead, it's a recipe for freedom. Most conspiracy theorists are very fear-based. They have not questioned and adjusted their own thinking enough to see for themselves that reality follows thoughts. So they do not subscribe to the truth that a person creates the reality that they live in. Instead, they see those people who don't own up to reality as ignorant and blind, almost like sitting ducks, who will ignore anything that goes on in the world around them, which according to them is exactly what the Illuminati would want. We could not fault them for doing this. We could not fault them for this fear. It is the exact same fear that most of us who begin to subscribe to mind creates reality hold. In the beginning, when we're exploring the idea that mind creates reality, we fear that it's just Pollyanna thinking. Won't I just be turning my back on those who need me? Won't I be blindsided by something I didn't prepare for and didn't see? These fears are valid fears when we do not yet prove to ourselves that we create our own reality. when we have not questioned our own painful beliefs enough to see that it is impossible to experience something unless you have become a match to the experience. So I can tell you, the kind of fear inherent in the belief in an external reality which we must control is a very good match for the New World Order, and is not a match to New Age movement. Another argument relative to this conspiracy is that the New Age beliefs mirror those beliefs of the New World Order. You can see this belief in the following statement. The great plan of the Illuminati is that if we awaken the original sin of Lucifer, we can be as gods. Here is where our language fails us, because we may be using the same word which is God, but our meanings are exactly opposite. The Illuminati seeks to express the word God as a way of controlling the world and controlling other people. It's used in tandem with the idea of power over something. But the way that the New Age movement uses the word God is as a universal consciousness. So if you understand that you are everything that exists, it is impossible for you to be better than, less than, more powerful than, less powerful than. You are always equal to. So the way that we become gods is, you are indivisible from that which is God because you are an extension of God. To the New Age, the aim is to understand that you are indivisible from God, and as such you have the creative power of God over your own reality. But if in your own reality you seek to gain control over others or over the world, you are hurting yourself because you are indivisible from those things that you are trying to control. You cannot control or hold power over anything else without turning yourself into a victim. Those who say the New Age is just a design of the New World Order would have you believe that you cannot trust yourselves. They would have you believe that you can be led astray by false prophets such as myself. They would have you believe that you can't trust your own emotion, that you can't trust yourself to know the difference between what is a pure intention and what is a negative intention. The entire principle of the New Age movement is that you can be trusted and should trust yourself to know the teachers which are out of alignment, as opposed to those who are in alignment. Ultimately, you are the ones, as individuals, who are capable, if you listen to your own heart and emotions, who can decide what is best for you. It is said by conspiracy theorists that the many teachers of the New Age, in other words, the idea that there is many paths to salvation, is only a way of creating chaos and pulling people off of the straight and narrow path so that they can be easily controlled. But those of us who have spent many years in the practice of spirituality trust you as individuals to take what serves you from those teachers and discard what doesn't. We trust you to know the difference between a truth which is in alignment and one that is not. Another prevalent argument is that the New Age movement is led by a hierarchy of people like myself who are out there teaching people with specific beliefs. I'm here to tell you that any movement that inspires individual freedom is no kind of hierarchy. Those of us who are truly part of the New Age movement do not think ourselves higher than you. We are not higher than or less than. We are learning from those people which we teach every single day. In the end, it's not even about us. We are just a means to an end. The means by which a person can potentially line up with themselves and find the end to suffering. We dispense this information in the name of personal freedom. We know that our freedom begins as individuals, but we also understand that the universal truth is that of oneness. So until every single individual chooses freedom, we cannot truly be free. One of the most common arguments that I hear from conspiracy theorists against the New Age is that the New Age is a universal, open-armed religion that excludes from its ranks only those who believe in Jesus Christ and a personal God. Buddhists, Shintoists, Satanists, secular humanists, witches, witch doctors, and shamans. All who reject Christianity are invited to become trusted members of the New Age family. Worshippers of separate faiths and denominations are to be unified in a common purpose, which is the glorification of man. I will counter this point by saying that the New Age movement is even more open-armed than that. It does not exclude from itself those religions like Christianity. It does not exclude from itself any religious faith. Instead, it seeks to embrace anything about any particular faith on this earth that serves mankind. It embraces all practices which serve because it sees the value in every spiritual and non-spiritual path. Anything less would be total ignorance. The New Age movement seeks to keep the very best of every religion and discard those parts of any religion that does not serve an individual, or in other words, which creates human suffering. You can adhere to Christianity and still be a member of the New Age movement, and yes, as extensions of God, or, if you're Christian, as creations of God, humanity should be glorified. It should be appreciated for the miracle that it is. Our power to create a world that serves the highest good of all is the glory of man, a glory that should be recognized. The New Age movement does not seek to create a new world religion. We understand that this would be no better than the system that we've had today. In fact, it would be worse. Anytime humanity adheres to external beliefs, it is a recipe for suffering. Anytime a spiritual belief comes from outside, externally, instead of from internally, within, only the relationship between one individual and their connection to God, you have a recipe for suffering. This is why the New Age movement seeks to put faith back in the hands of the individual. Putting faith and power in the individual is the exact opposite of a recipe for control. It is our belief that your connection to God is yours. You do not need to seek that connection through a spiritual teacher. You do not need to seek this truth externally. Our only desire is to help you recognize that connection that you have individually to God, which is a connection that no one else can break. When you identify with this connection that you personally have to God, it is our understanding that it is impossible for you to be controlled by anyone or anything. Not us, not the New World Order, not the Illuminati, nothing. It is our understanding that no spiritual teacher, no world government, no person that you relied upon could ever control you based on you having this unbreakable connection to who you truly are. This is the gift inherent in the New Age movement. Its aim is not to lead you astray, it is to put you in touch with yourself and your internal compass to such a degree that you could not ever be controlled by anything. Those of us who are part of the New Age movement trust you completely. We trust you with your own judgments, we trust you with your own beliefs, we trust you not to be led astray by anyone, including by us. We trust you to know the difference between those whose intentions are pure and those whose intentions are clouded. We trust you to know even if we have gone astray, the very people who have brought you into contact with these principles. We trust you to know true freedom from false freedom. We trust you to know the difference between truth and illusion. We trust you with everything. And most of all, we trust you with yourselves. We do not think for a second that anyone who has practiced to become clear within themselves could ever be frightened into becoming unclear enough to fall into the ranks of a New World Order. Those of us who are part of the New Age movement do not believe in resistance, but if it's important for you to understand it this way, the New Age movement is the opposition to the New World Order and to the Illuminati. And perhaps their greatest conspiracy yet is to convince you that those of us who are a part of the New Age movement, especially those of us who are leading the New Age movement, are one of them. Talk about the greatest reverse psychology trick of all time. Have a good week.